Hey everybody, good to see you. Good morning. Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late. My coffee was taking forever to brew. How are you? I just ran up the stairs, so I'm a little bit out of breath. Um, yeah, I'm having a case of the Mondays today. Just off to a weird start. I yesterday, the football game ended, at a reasonable time, 9:30, which was nice. I had some free time. Everybody was in bed. Like the kids were in bed. Lynn went to bed by 10 o'clock, and it was nice and quiet. So I did the dishes and cleaned up the kitchen and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to get to bed on time. I'm going to get a lot of rest. I'm going to wake up. And today I had the hardest time getting out of bed. And like I was just walking around in a fog. And when I made my first coffee and I set the coffee maker, and I ran out of the room to take care of something. And I came back in, and the coffee was going all over the countertop. I didn't put a mug under it, so it was just sort of just going everywhere. So, oh boy, what a morning! What a morning! So, needless to say, my routine is failing me, which is, we're going to talk about habits and disciplines today, but geez, today is weird. Yesterday, like over the weekend, how do you guys do? So, for us, I'm going to bring this down. I forgot to bring my mic down because I ran up the stairs. Good morning from South Florida. Happy Monday. So, how was your weekend? Ours was cold, incredibly cold. We were in the house most of the time. I took the kids out. We went to a pet store. Like the COVID numbers coming down a little bit in Pittsburgh. I usually don't take them out, but I figured, we got there when they opened. There weren't a lot of people there, and I figured it was, safe to walk around a little bit and look at the animals. I have my fish tank back here, and Nicholas wants a reptile, so we're trying to help him figure out which one he wants. None of them are going to make Lynn happy. She's not a big reptile fan, but he is, so trying to figure out what that's going to look like. But so we did we just kind of did our thing. Did a little bit of maintenance around the house, cleaning things up, organizing. Yesterday was a little bit more busy than I thought it was going to be. Did a little more running around. Running really, the drive back and forth to the the pet store took a couple of hours. But then, just like some cleanup around the house. Plus, I made breakfast, and then we made homemade pizza, and we made wings, for the boys. So, it was kind of a busy day, but it was nice because we got to sit on the couch and watch football together. Had a couple of really good games, so we enjoyed it and spent some quality family time. It was overall a pretty good weekend. I did forget to buy firewood, so we didn't light the fireplace, and yesterday was the perfect day to light a fire. So, yeah, what are you going to do? I posted, before I get into it, I'm going to get into that post in a minute, but before I get into it, Anna, good morning in South Florida. Happy Monday. My dad sent me a photo. He passed out on his lanai in Florida. It's like 80 degrees down there, and he's loving it, and he's watching football outside. So I had to reply with a photo of a shot where I was watching the game from outside a cold and murky day. So he's bragging because he can. Happy Monday, Jean, sorry. We have a genie and a genie. A Gene and a genie. Monday, can't trust that day. No, good morning. Good morning. Amy, good morning from rainy and chilly Arizona. Yay for rain, but chilly Arizona is not what I'm used to thinking about there. But when I lived in Vegas, I know the winters got really cold. Janice, good morning. Pamela, good morning. Glad you finally get to catch a live. A day off during the week opens up lots of possibilities. Yes, absolutely. Jean says, try hermit crabs. That's a good idea. We have some hermit crabs in our aquarium, but they're not the kind that you have, probably. But I wonder if they would like hermit crabs. Huh. Good morning, stay warm, Sherry. Kathy, good snowy morning, expecting 12 inches. Jeez. That's crazy. We had about that. I think we had 9 last month, and it was heavy, too. Got me a good workout. And so it's funny because my neighbors make fun of me because I walk outside in my shorts and a t-shirt when I shovel snow. And my thing is, like, I'm good as long as I'm moving. If I stop moving, then I start to freeze. And for me, people spend a ton of money on cryotherapy and like all these things. And I'm like, you know what? It's free. I can go walk outside and get cryotherapy for free. But it's also kind of like a mental toughness thing, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. And in fact, I know somebody else sort of in the same space as me who will sit outside for 10 minutes in his shorts and nothing else on in the winter to like build his mental toughness. Other people take cold showers. It's just kind of like if you can do that, you can do anything kind of thing. There's a guy, his name is Wim Hof, and he's like on the extreme side of things. His nickname is the Iceman. And like part of his routine that he has with people go on retreats with him is they go through mountains, like hiking in the snow. They sit in like a cold pool for like 10 minutes or more, just freezing their butts off. And it's supposed to be like health benefits, but then also like it's just a mental toughness thing. Like you can get through anything. So I do it myself in my little moments here, my adapted Iceman method. Good morning, Sandy. Yeah, a reptile. I think he's leaning towards snake, which makes my wife's skin crawl. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. D, sunny Syracuse, New York, 17 degrees. We had a foot of snow on Saturday. Wow, we're missing all of it. We got a dusting out there. It's nice and white. It's pretty, but you can still see the grass. Like it's not that big a deal. You guys got some snow, man. Not me. So, one of the posts that I put in the user group last week was talking about like we've come across, and I mean, I'm sure you have too, all throughout life, but like right now, I think like the holidays, the politics, like all the stuff going on, there's some angry, vengeful people in the world right now. And we've come across a lot of them. And I see them, even outside of, like, I mean, you see family members that do things, right? They just do things to hurt themselves and then they get angry at the results and then they lash out at other people and it causes like all of these problems. So it just continues a cycle. So, I was thinking through that whole process, like observing it and trying to figure out like what to comment on and what to let go and like, just kind of going through that whole process. And it's hard, like it's sometimes you get too close and you get sucked in. Other times you stay too far away and you feel kind of like you're being cold. So trying to find that middle ground where you're available if necessary, but also not getting pulled into it. And I've had some complicated family and friend relationships over the years, and it's hard to find that perfect place. But so in reviewing that post this morning and seeing people's comments and seeing other people's comments, there's a woman in there that says, she never gets to see our lives. And I'm thinking to myself, we used to do an afternoon live every so often. It would be like the happy hour with Nick. And it would be on my personal Facebook page. And so not on the Define My Day page. And we would talk about life in general. We would talk about like, improving ourselves. We would talk about whatever. And I'd do it, while having a beer or while having a cocktail, whatever. Sometimes not. Sometimes it would just be water because I really didn't feel like having anything to drink. But so every so often we get like a comment from somebody or an email, like a nasty email, like, how dare you be drinking, whatever. And so, I like, it's not that I was like, what, it's just not even worth the effort. And like, and I don't even want to say that it was worth the effort, but it like wasn't worth the argument, I guess. And so I just kind of like, let it go, right? And I could have done it without a drink. But I was kind of trying to make it fun, right? And fun and light. And without that intention behind it, like I just kind of like lost my motivation. But so as I'm reading the comments and thinking through this post that I made, I started thinking like, who are these people that are making that comment or making that email? So I went back and through the emails from the last time we did a happy hour, and I looked up the people on the account. And some people had never purchased a Define My Day and still haven't. Other people purchased one like a long time ago. So they weren't even active users. There was nobody out of the, 2 or 3, maybe, I think there were 4 total, if I'm not mistaken. There were 4 people over the course of a couple of months that made negative comments about this thing, this happy hour with Nick. And none of them were regular users. None of them were active in the user group. None of them they were just people that had to put the kibosh on what they thought was wrong. And so I apply that to the way I'm thinking with this, and I'm thinking to myself, well, they're not my core people. right? The people that are here every day are my core people. And maybe they like to have a drink, maybe they don't. But one thing they do is give a little grace and don't feel like, we have to like stop what we're doing for a specific scenario that they have, right? And look, I understand like there are some people struggling with alcoholism and we have to be sensitive to them. But at the same time, like I'm not promoting drinking. It was just kind of a thing, like as part of it. And so, like we're walking a fine line with it, but it's also why we're not doing it on the Define My Day page. So I think we're going to bring it back, and we're going to do it in the same format because I want it to be light and fun. It's not going to be on Define My Day. It's going to be on my Nick Boris page, and we are going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So, I know some people in the user group, and this is kind of how I got into this discussion. I know some people in the user group were talking about missing, the lives in the morning because it's early, especially on the West Coast. It's a little bit early right now, so we want to try to help them out. And I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. We're going to help them out and try to get them, get them into a live, and we'll make it a little bit lighter. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. So it's like I'm just thinking this through now. So I apologize for like not having a concise argument for this whole conversation, but I was just kind of perusing through those emails and going through this process, and we're gonna try to help people out. We're gonna have some fun, and I apologize in advance for anybody that might have like a sensitivity to somebody drinking alcohol, but it's not an illegal activity. I certainly don't want anybody that is an alcoholic to, go that direction. But I also think that, we're not getting weird. We're just trying to uh, leisurely have a conversation. So that's where I'm at. And then some days I may not even have a drink. I might just have a glass of water. But so you bring your own if you like. If not, hey, that's fine too. So that's where I'm at with it. So Gene says you need to research how to properly take care of the crabs. Around 8 years old now. Wow. There's a lot of confused. So Gene says there's a lot of confused people right now. Yeah, there are. We are like on. I mean, we talk about redlining in the past. Like people are redlining right now. It's just you're stuck at home. People are struggling for money. We're not getting the social interaction that we want. Maybe the kids are stuck at home like mine. There's a lot going on. So, it's that balance again of giving grace while also trying to maintain a standard and everything else that's wrapped up into it. Amy says, I'm with Lynn, no snakes. It's been a long time, but I think we had some kind of frogs. Snakes, you have to consider what to feed them. We had to buy crickets to feed the frogs. Yes. So, my brother actually breeds snakes, and he has like 50 of them in his basement. It's really clean and neat and nice, which is really cool. So my wife Lynn gets to see that it can be done in a neat way. But he also says that they're like the easiest thing to take care of. Not a whole lot of maintenance. They're fairly clean, and the risk of them getting out is not a big deal as long as you properly take care of them. So we'll see. I know when I was a kid, I had everything. I don't. There's not too many animals that you can name that I didn't have. Snakes, fish, frogs, iguanas. Like I was like that kid that could just never make up his mind. So we're trying to work Nicholas through the thought process of what he wants, and then then we'll uh, help him figure it out. We'll make sure he takes the responsibility because this is he's 10 and he's making a decision that he's gonna have to deal with for the next like Gene said, like 8 years. Like I mean, a snake lives for 20 years, so I mean he's gonna be stuck with this thing. He's gonna be you know going out on dates when he's 16 or going off to college, and he still has a snake that I don't want to take care of. So we'll see how that goes. Sherry says, I'll toast to that, and I don't drink. See, there you go. We can still be friends. We don't have to all do the same thing. We can still be friends. Um, they forgot how to be human. Yep. Yep. Or how to be humane. That could be we can really say the both things. Crabs live 40. Oh boy. I don't want to hurt my crab for 40 years. Um, Just to rewind back to this thing. So we are going to start doing some more afternoon stuff, some more afternoon videos to help people out that can't make this Monday morning. This Monday morning is meant to help you start off, and we record it so, people that can't be here live, but I know people still want to participate, so we'll help you out with that. Speaking of participation, we did a live session where last 2 weekends ago, where we did an entire walkthrough, like a lengthy walkthrough webinar with a bunch of people to help them with the Define My Day process. We called it Define My Day with Nick, and it was like a good part of the Saturday afternoon. We have the recordings uploaded now onto our learning platform, so you can get into that now if you want, and it's all segmented and broken out so you can get through it. You can stop and start and whatever. I'll post a link for that. It's $47 to go through that program, and you can go through it. And again, if you don't find that it's working for you, we offer a refund on it if it's something that you don't feel is good for you. I think there's like a 7-day refund, so you could really go through the whole thing. And if you don't like it, we'll refund your money. But if you think it's valuable, then you might you might go through it more than once. But it was pretty good. We got some good conversation going. We went through the entire Define My Day process piece by piece. I think it's very valuable, and we had a great conversation. Listen, right before we get into this, because our topic today is habits and disciplines. Okay, and I think now is probably the appropriate time to talk about this, and we're going to talk about it really all week this week. But so right now, if you're starting to Define My Day, or if you're just in like third week of January in the new year, now is when things start getting hard, right? So now is when like you're not getting immediate results, and you're starting to get tired of the new routine you started with yourself. Maybe you set your expectations a little bit too high, and so now like you're starting to burn out a little bit. Now you're starting to struggle. Now you're starting to go, well, if I just, maybe I take a day off and like whatever, right? And this is now when we need to make the decision as to what we took on too much of, like where we're trying to overexert ourselves and it's not necessary, and what we need to continue to maintain to grow. So if you started off sprinting and you're wearing yourself out, what pieces can we pull back on and give ourselves a little bit of grace? And what other pieces do we need to maintain and build on to grow? It's different for everybody. We're all in different levels. We're all in different places, but we need to analyze, what we need to do. The one thing we don't want to do is quit and go back to where we were before, right? So, if you're like working out an hour a day, your meals are like 1,600 calories, you're waking up at 4 in the morning and going to bed at 11, and your day is packed with blah, 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 and you're just exhausted. You're wearing yourself out. You can't do that, right? You're not only are you doing more physical activity, you're eating less, and you're going through all these like sugar highs and lows, and you're starving yourself, and your body's going, what the heck is going on? And then you're also trying to do all of the things in the day that you're not normally doing. You went from maybe relaxing on the couch for a couple hours a day to now like just blowing it out of the water, and your mind is going, what the heck, right? And you're just frying yourself, and that's not healthy. That's not healthy at all. So we need to maybe back off the gas a little bit, no matter what it is, right? You can be doing any or all of those things I just said. Back off the gas a little bit and put it on cruise control, right? And just like our goal is to move forward at a steady pace. Small steps, big results over time. Steady pace, not this stop and start BS, right? We can't just be like, hitting the gas, wearing ourselves out, breaking down, and then sitting on the side of the road while life passes us by. We need to just steadily go. Occasionally make a pit stop, get back on the road, right? So don't wear yourself out, give yourself grace, but also You want to pressure yourself, exercise your mindset and your physical body every so often to try to grow a little bit every day, make a little bit further toward your goals and your overall health every day. So that's what these disciplines, these daily disciplines, are designed to help you do. It's designed to help you become more efficient and to grow so that you're on a better platform to be the healthiest version of yourself. So, looking at that, so here, let's talking about habits and disciplines right now, right? So, what are the goals of our habits and disciplines? This page right here that you're looking at on your screen, the daily disciplines page, we gave you, we gave you 6 already that you can see on the page there, right? Rest, exercise, eating well, positive interactions. All of those are like the 6 that we believe are the most important for you. And I guess for the people listening, I'll read the rest of them out there for you. So you have rest, you have exercise, you have eating well, you have drinking and a certain amount of water, whatever is appropriate for you, because you want to stay hydrated. A lot of us are drinking stuff that is not healthy. Water is healthy for you. You want to make sure you're drinking enough of it. You want to read or educate yourself, and then you want positive interactions. So those are the 6 things we give you in Define My Day, because everybody should be doing some level of that every day. And again, it doesn't, like, your version of exercise might be different than somebody else's. Your version of how much rest you need might be different than everybody else's. There's best practices, right? There's best practices based on your age and your activity level. But, it might be different for everybody else. Myself, exercise for me is at least 30 minutes every day, and it's usually like high intensity. Rest for me has to be at least 7 hours. My water intake, my goal is 200 ounces per day. That's a ton of water for some people. For me, what it does for me is it helps me not drink other things, and it helps me stay like full. And in the end, it my belief is it helps flush out all the anything else I'm bringing into my body. So that's my goal, and I can maintain it, and it's not onerous on me. So I'm doing it. That's not the general rule for water, by the way, is like half of your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, 75 ounces would be appropriate for you. Reading might be picking up a book for 10 minutes a day for somebody. For me, I try to do a half an hour. And I also would substitute some sort of learning platform, or like something that like is like reading. You can listen to an audiobook. I do that too. Or if I watch a TED Talk, I'll continue or consider that my education / reading time. Positive interactions, definitely subjective. Something that you just sort of have to understand, or kind of like interpret for yourself. Like today, I did have some good positive interactions. A lot of other stuff can go on this page. A lot of other stuff, and the goal for what you're doing here is to just, like, you want to take like those habits that are healthy for you, the things that you want to kind of become part of who you are. You want to bring those into your daily routine so that you become more efficient and grow as best you can. You know, like having those part of your everyday. Like, so we're starting to do these daily disciplines now because they are just like, we want that to be who we are. So we're just doing them. We're doing them every day, every day, every day, and we're checking them off, trying to build like this chain over the course of the week of doing all of these things, knowing that once it becomes part of us, we can probably take it off this list as it becomes part of our daily routine, and it can just be like that's like brushing your teeth, right? Like, now you just brush your teeth because that's just what you've been doing all your life. You don't even think about it. It just happens. And so you have this chain of events that happens in the morning, brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, doing all these things, cleaning out your ears, maybe flossing, all this stuff, and it just happens. You don't even think about it. And if you think about that, you don't, you're not using your brain power. In fact, you're probably thinking about other things at the time while you're brushing, right? And it's making you more healthy. So you're becoming efficient and more healthy as you're doing it, and you're using your brain to do other things. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to integrate these healthy activities so much into our thought patterns that we're not wasting willpower and energy thinking about them. We're just doing them. So, for like reading, if we integrate, like right now, if you're not a reader, if you're not somebody that does education on a daily basis, right now it takes effort for you to sit down and read a book. It takes work to focus and not try to distract yourself with other things, or to, listen for other things going on, or for other people to disturb you. And like, it takes effort. I've been there. And like, I'll read paragraphs and then go, what did I just read? Because I was thinking about something else, right? It takes effort and willpower and this discipline to stay focused on reading. It takes discipline to pick up the book because you can find distractions to do a bunch of other things first. But once it works into your routine, and once you do it every day and you're disciplined about doing it, it just becomes part of who you are. And so then, picking up a book is sort of like the same as like picking up the newspaper or picking up your phone to check Facebook. It's just part of who you are. And you're just doing it and you're learning, and it's less work. And so not only are you expending less energy doing it, you're growing your foundation to grow into a better person. And and I mentioned the, like picking up the phone to be on Facebook. How effortless is that, right? This we're trying to make something incredibly healthy just as effortless. Now, I've worked many things into this page. I've worked in, picking up dog poop until I passed it off to my kid, doing the dishes at night like I did last night because, I like waking up to a clean kitchen. It's less oppressive to me, right? Going to bed at a certain time because it helps build a good routine. So, when I do that, I am definitely, when I do my daily disciplines, I am definitely more free to do other things, and I have more energy to do other things because my disciplines help me grow. Um, when you look at the three main things when we put it on the post for here, the three big things for me with these daily disciplines: increasing efficiency of habitual actions by reducing time and energy needed to complete them. Think brushing your teeth, right? Think grabbing that book and just reading your book. Those are healthy things that you get benefit from, especially, as they accumulate over time. The health benefits grow. Exercise, like all those things, like the more you do them, the healthier you get. And then the second part being improving our overall health, which helps us think more clearly and have more energy throughout the day. So not only are you more efficient doing the activity, but then you are, becoming more healthy and becoming more efficient and thinking more clearly and having more energy to do that. And then bigger things like focusing on our priorities, right? You think, if you get better sleep, if you exercise more and your body becomes healthier and more efficient, you don't get tired running up the stairs the way I did. Like, the healthier you get, the more energy you then have to do bigger and better things. And then the last part, and this is the big thing, this is why we call them daily disciplines. This is big for me, is to grow your ability to be mentally disciplined and mindful. And that's sort of where we are bringing it back to when we talk about like this getting hard now in week 3 of January. That's almost week 4, really. Right now is when your mind is saying, oh, we don't need to do this. Oh, we don't have to do this. Or this process is too hard. Or this activity is too hard. I don't want to exercise. Do I really need to worry about what I'm eating today? All of these little thoughts you're having is your opportunity to say, yes, it is this important. I need to double down and do this. Like that decision you're making right there is the decision to give up or continue and grow. That's that point of stress when things aren't easy anymore and it's getting difficult. Now is when you double down on that and break through and grow, right? It's like when you're working a muscle and it starts wearing out and you start getting tired and you're like, "Oh man, I can't do anymore." And you're like, "One more, one more, one more." And then maybe it's 5 more. And that's what we're doing with our minds at that point in time. Like when your mind says quit, and you step back and tell your mind, no, we're going to go one more day or one more week, and it continues on down the road, that's you building your mental muscle. So don't indulge the quit muscle, right? We want to grow the perseverance muscle. Angela Duckworth calls it the grit muscle, right? The building that ability to grind it out, to be gritty. That's what we're trying to do here. So, anytime someone says, this process is too hard for me, that's when you know you need to do it, right? It's hard because of the fact that you're not used to doing it. Because of, you've been raised a certain way, you've reinforced all of these habits, these negative habits you might have. And we need to tear that apart, and it's going to be stressful, it's going to be hard. We can't always be running away from hard things. And these disciplines and habits give you the solid foundation to be the person that you want to be, because it gives you that energy and clarity of mind to move forward. But it takes time, and it takes a lot of growth. How you make these things easier. One way to make these things easier is to build a habit stack. So as you list things that you might want to put on here, you try to do them in a group so that you get a couple things done at once. So my first habit stack in the morning for me is wake up, get coffee, sit down in my chair, which is not written down here, but I sit down in my chair, I do define my day, I meditate, and I read. All of that happens in one space, in one order, right? So I go downstairs, cup of coffee, go to my chair, define my day, read, meditate, and then I get up. All happens in one space, happens in one order, and then I'm off in my day doing my next thing. The more you can do that, the better, right? Because it just becomes like you're not even thinking about it, you're just getting it done. That's ideally the way that we want to do it. And the more you do it, the less effort it takes. It's just a thing you do. I'm gonna go to. I see a comment here. I want to hit. Amy says, most of the year, Arizona is 3 hours behind. So you're on at 7 a.m. here. In the beginning, being retired, I didn't always catch you live because I didn't want to get up that early. You were live every day at that time. I started getting up more and more so that I could watch live. Then, based on your recommendation, I read Miracle Morning. And now my dog and I are up every day at 6. I miss you when you aren't on. I'm definitely still a work in progress, but I'm getting there. I appreciate you waiting to start at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. your time, even though it's in the middle of your priority time. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And so, yeah, so that's part of the issue is that, like, oh, let me see. Hold on. Amy also says, I've also begun reading more because of Define My Day. Again, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. And that's like, so even with the people that comment, like, if you can't be on the live because you're at work, that's one thing. But, if it's on early in the morning for you, like 7 a.m., sometimes if it's that important, you adjust your schedule. But, maybe you can't. Like, there's other things that happen. But we're going to try to help out, to be there in other times for people that can't be here for the lives. But I appreciate what Amy's saying here. Like, Amy adjusted her schedule to develop healthier habits, and now they get up at 6 in the morning, which is awesome. Good for you. It's funny because I remember when 6 in the morning used to seem late for me. I was getting up at 5, and 6 was like, I'm sleeping in if it was 6. Now, I'm trying to get back to 6 in the morning, and it seems tough. So it's all relative. It's all definitely relative. But these habits, we're going to go into habits and what comprises healthy habits all through this week. We're going to call this a habits week. I'm going to be going live in the user group each evening this week to talk about a new component of these daily disciplines and healthy habits. Today, we're going to be talking about the value of a healthy routine. So we're going to be going into that. If you're a member of the user group, look out for it. We're not going to keep it at a specific time because I need to work around what's going on in my afternoons. But we are going to have a little informal discussion about routine today, this afternoon, or this evening, whenever I can get it scheduled in the user group. If you are a member, please look out for it. If you're not a member and you have purchased Define My Day in the past, please check it out. Join the user group. You'll have the password in your email. If you haven't purchased and you're not a member of the user group or you're not eligible to be a member, I will post the recording on YouTube probably tomorrow morning, maybe earlier if I can, and you'll still be able to watch the discussion at a later time. So don't feel like you're being left out. But so that's kind of the thing. So keep in mind with the daily disciplines is that it's not always meant to be easy, right? You gotta stress yourself out a little bit to grow. It's just how we work as human beings, and that's how like the entire animal kingdom works. The more you get stressed, if you meet the stress with improvement, it doesn't become stressful anymore, and you've grown, and now you can handle things that come at you down the road. Kathy says, thanks for the habit stacking reminder. Just need to add exercise into a habit stack. Yeah, I'm with you. I have a hard time fitting that one in, and it's partly because my boy wants to exercise with me. And because he has school all day, it happens later in the day, and that's not a good place for me. So I'm trying to balance, wanting to do that thing with my kid while also trying to make sure I do it for myself. And sometimes he bails out on me in the afternoon, and I'm like, oh, I just waited all day for you. So we're trying to work that out. Janice says there are too many things for me to prioritize. There's family, personal, business, home, which is the regular cleaning and repairs, and then my babysitting teaching job with two sons and their schooling. Janice, this was actually discussed a little bit in the session that I posted in the comments a little bit ago. What I would do, there's priorities and then there's obligations and responsibilities, and you have to delineate priorities from all of those other obligations, and that's comes into the routine aspect of the ideal day. You have to make sure you're carving out the one little thing that might be a priority. It might be a little thing, right? A priority for you might just be, one small half an hour task every day, and that's your single priority thing, but that's the one thing that helps you grow that will eventually impact you positively down the road. So all the things you're talking about there, family is a priority from a value perspective. So for me, one of my core values is my family, but they are not always my priority. So, and like I was just talking about with my kid and exercise, like I need to exercise, like looking at like exercising with my kid and exercising in general myself on a daily basis. Exercising needs to happen just a little bit more than exercising with my kid. So I need to figure out how to make it work where I'm still spending time with my son, but I need to exercise every day. So that's like a higher on my priority list. But sometimes family doesn't appear on my priorities in a day. Like I have other activities that, if I don't provide an income for my household, my kids starve, and no matter how much I make them a priority right now, if they're going hungry, then, it all falls apart. So there are certain days where business is like all the way down on my page, all of my priorities. I maintain the house too, right? So like, regular cleaning and repairs, those are all things that I don't want to make it a priority. It needs to get done, but for me, those things happen outside of my priority time. They happen on the weekends, they happen in the evenings. They're not priorities, they're just to-do list items. So those things for me, even washing the dishes, right? Even small stuff like that, that happens in the evening, like at the end of the day when I don't have any more energy to do anything important. It's just the routine stuff that gets done. On the weekend, we talk about weekends, cleaning the garage, organizing, a room, doing little repairs. Like I fixed my kid's closet door. That only became a priority on a weekend where like I made priority one, having like quality family time was something like what I would put there on a weekend. Priority two was probably, home maintenance, where closet door was one thing. Maybe cleaning the bathrooms was something else, and then maybe taking down the Christmas lights would have been priority three. But very seldom will that stuff show up as a priority, except on the weekends. Most of the time, it's something that's done when like all of the really important things are done. Like the all of the things that really move me forward. So, and I've seen this as a it's been a problem in the user group as I look through a lot of the posts, and it's not just you, Janice. I think that as we analyze what a priority is, we really need to kind of dissect this topic as we move forward. And it's sort of, I've been trying to figure out a good way to do this, because we really need to talk about a priority being that thing that moves us forward. I need to get everyone out of the mindset of like just the basic maintenance of our lives being our priorities. We need to think further than that, right? Because a lot of times, we're taking care of our family while not taking care of the relationships. So we make a priority, and we all know those people, right? The people that keep a beautiful home, that keep their kids fed, that keep them well clothed, but have a terrible relationship with their kids. So their priorities are mixed up because of this way we grew up. Like keeping a good house was more important than actually keeping a good relationship. So we need to kind of look at how we're approaching our days. And I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm saying that like I've experienced it myself, either through relationships that I've had with people or the relationships I have with my kids. And so, and I actually can say that I've done it, because when I look at, I thought working 16 hours a day was a priority, and that didn't happen often, but it did happen. But it would often happen that I worked 12 hours a day. Right now, I'm doing it for my family. Well, in the end, I had a terrible relationship with my family because I was working so much. So I needed to change my behaviors to improve where I was going and make sure that I was on the path of where I wanted to go. So, for me, mowing the lawn is never a priority. Maintaining the house is almost never a priority unless there's something that's risen to the top as an emergency. But like those things should always kind of be like, I have my running to-do list of items that when I'm done focusing on the most important thing today, I can then go to those. When I'm a little bit worn out, don't need so much willpower to get through it, and it's kind of like an off time thing, right? So we need to look at like where we're spending our time, and it gets hard the busier you are. If you're working a 9 to 5 job that requires travel, and there's other things wrapped up into that, like our days are packed. But it's more important when those days are packed. It's more important to try to make sure that we're spending our time where it's really, really needed, and also avoiding the things that are distracting and just wasting our time. And the more we go into it, the better. So I think that that's a topic that I know as I've been going through the user group. I really need to spend more time with people to help them, figure out what a priority is compared to all of the other things that we have going on. There's very few priorities that we should have. The only reason we have priorities, 3 priorities in our Define My Day page, is because every so often there are 3 really important things that happen. But a lot of times you can only put 1 priority in a day because it's really important, takes more time, and then all the rest of it, we'll get to it if we get to it. Sherry says, I burned myself out with my first journal because I had a time related deadline for a project and added all of the other new goals at the same time. I made the deadline and accomplished other goals. Then I was burned out for the whole next month. No more. I check my pages to see if I'm overloading myself. Yes, yes. I agree. And Sherry, a really good example was last year during our busy time in December and January for Define My Day. I was I was flying through the days as we were trying to pack books and get books out the door for people. And, Lynn and I were both burning out over it. And so was Luann. And, there was one night where I was looking at a stack of orders and I worked until maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, and it ruined my entire next day. So all the time that I spent just trying to tackle that one big pile of orders, the time I spent on it, like the extra, 6 hours I spent on it, maybe even 5 hours I spent on it, I was ruined for the entire next day. So that example right there, I gained 5 hours of productivity, but I lost, 12 the next day. So I don't want that to happen to you in any kind of situation. And that's why we didn't allow it to happen to us this year and what we were doing, especially now with COVID and us being kind of in separate areas. So, what is that in your life? What's the thing that you're like overdoing yourself right now, but costing yourself later on? And other times, like, it just has to happen. Like sometimes, like Sherry, maybe you just had to get that done. There wasn't a choice. And then when you have that burnout month, you just kind of say, well, you know what? I earned this burnout month. I'm allowed to take some time off. You just don't want to get it to the point where you develop bad habits, right? Kathy, if I didn't read this yet, I can't remember if I skipped over this or not. But thanks for the habit stacking reminder. Just need to add extra. Yeah, we did read this. Okay. But what I wanted to hit with this was that if you have not read Atomic Habits, um, read Atomic Habits by James Clear or follow James Clear on Facebook or Twitter. He always has a little thing he drops out for you. Very good, very good book to help you understand what these habits are and how to integrate them into your life. One of the things he says in the book that, or maybe he doesn't say it in the book, but he says it elsewhere, is that every action you take, every decision you make, is a vote for the person you want to be, or even the person who you are. So if you're choosing right now to persevere, to do the hard things right now, you're choosing to be a person that does hard things. If you're choosing to avoid the hard things, to just sit back and quit, you're choosing to be a person that sits back and quits. So think about that. Like as I have that in my mind a lot, especially during exercise, or especially when I'm trying to fight a food craving, or if I'm trying to, like, there's like certain moments where I'm like, wait a minute, am I a person that does this, or am I a person that does this? And so you want to make clear in your mind that every time you're making that decision, like we can always say I'm going to start tomorrow, but we need to make those decisions now. Quit putting off till tomorrow to be the person you want to be, right? So these daily disciplines are kind of, they're part of that. They're kind of like that. In these moments, in these segments of time in my day, I'm going to be disciplined and I'm going to do these things that are healthy for me, and then it gives me more opportunity to have time to do the things that are really important later on in the day. My priorities, my relationships, even resting. You rest better when you do the things that you know you need to be doing in the beginning of the day. Or if you even have a plan, like if you have a plan to do it and you know you're going to fulfill your plan, you can rest more easy. So, um, all right, good, 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 good. All right, so that's it for me today. If you want the entire walkthrough of the daily disciplines and the rest of Define My Day, check out that link to get into the course, the Define My Day with Nick, that we have uploaded now. I think it's really valuable. And I'm a lot more concise in discussing it. Look, this is informal, right? So, but I'm a lot more concise in discussing how this process works in that course. I think it's very valuable for you. Everybody that went through it so far seems to like it. So I'm going based on their opinions and the reaction we got from that. Um, I will be on later today. We will be discussing routine. Again, very informal. I'm just going to jump on in the user group. We're going to talk about like the value of routine, how to set up a good routine, and we'll discuss like what other people's routines might be. The goal in that whole discussion is to try to develop a rhythm in our lives, right? So, you know, it's not just like I get up, I go to work, I come home. We're trying to get more into it to make sure that we're using our time in the most valuable way possible, so that we can be the people that we really want to be, without regret, and just happy and feeling like we're confident that we're making the right decisions. That the people that we want to define ourselves as. That's what we're trying to do with our daily routine. So I look forward to talking to you guys later on tonight about that. And we'll go through the entire week. We'll talk about all sorts of things. We'll talk about meals and exercise. We'll talk about sleep habits. We'll have all sorts of good stuff. So I look forward to seeing you guys all through the week this week. For the rest of you, if you don't make the course, or if you don't make the online sessions this week, check them out on YouTube. And if you just don't want to watch, hey, I'll still be here next Monday. We can talk about something else. All right, everybody, have a great week. Have a great day. I will talk to you very soon. Define your day to define your life. See ya.